Alright guys, I'm going to cut straight to the point. You saw the thumbnail, you know what the video is about. I'm going to show you how to go from this clear coat peeling, looking real ugly, to this. Sleek, beautiful, a very, very durable, long-lasting finish. It just looks amazing. So I'm going to get right to it. The brake caliper, I also painted, as you can probably tell. That video is going to be in the description below, how to paint your brake calipers. And let's get to work. And real quick, guys, the original rim here does have curb rash. The one I painted over there does not. If your rim does have curb rash and you do want to get rid of this before you paint it, I'm going to have another video made real soon here. It's going to be linked in the description. It's going to show you how to get rid of this curb rash so you can have a nice, beautiful, brand new looking rim. All right, so what we're going to need to get started here with this job is some kind of abrasive. We're going to need some 500 grit sandpaper, 150, or if you want to make quick work of the wheels, instead of using the 150, we can get right here with a wire brush, especially if you got a whole lot of rust on those wheels or a whole lot of clear coat peeling. This thing makes quick work out of the wheels. Obviously, we're going to need all our paints. We're going to need our primer. I love this primer. It lays down super flat, give you a nice finish. This trim and bumper paint, I love this paint. It's my favorite paint. I use it on everything. If you see my other videos, you'll see why. It's a very, very good paint. Lays down super flat. And if you do want a glossy look here, we're going to go with the enamel gloss, the automotive enamel gloss. This stuff lays down really flat, gives it a nice finish here. On top of that, we're going to need some no scrub wheel cleaner. I like no scrub here just because it's my favorite. I've been using it since I was 16. Stuff works really well. Some alcohol or some Germex. I have no alcohol, so Germex will do just fine. We're going to need some rags, of course, a cross wrench, and to get the car off the ground, it's going to need a jack. All this stuff is going to be in the description below. You can get it on Amazon, get everything at once, get everything delivered to your house, and get to work. So let's get started with the job here. So the first thing we're going to do before anything is we're going to get in the car and we're going to pull the e-brake up. And a good practice before jacking the front of your car up is to take these two back wheels, wedge a piece of wood in them. That way you minimize risk of it rolling back on you. After we've got the e-brake up, what we're going to do is we're going to break these lug nuts loose. That way when we jack the car up, we're able to get the wheel off. A little trick I like to use here, take your car jack, take the handle on it, put it over one of these, give you a lot more leverage. And after you got your lug nuts loose, what we're going to do is we're going to jack the car up. Now that you got your lug nuts loose and your wheels lifted off the ground, it's time to get them off. Alright, next step here, we're going to take your favorite wheel cleaner. Mine is going to be this no scrub here from Black Magic. I'm going to put a link in the description here. This stuff works really well. This is no scrub. I mean, you really don't have to, but I'm going to do it anyways just to make sure I get it super detailed. And also, just a sponge of any kind. So, let's get to work. Alright guys, so first step here, we're going to start by sanding these with 150 here. Since the clear coat on this is peeling off and it's in pretty rough shape, I want to make sure I get all the clear coat off to get good adhesion with the paint. So we're going to start at 150. I'd probably recommend doing 320 here for your rims, but 150 we're going to really knock these out now. Alright, and after giving a real thorough sand with the 150, what we're going to do is we're going to hit with some 500, get some of those deeper grooves out that would cause with the 150. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so the next step here is we're going to take our Germex and we're going to take a clean cloth and we're going to wipe down all the dust that we made from sanding. Alright, so after we got the tire cleaned off really, really well, we're going to take these index cards here. I got these ones on Amazon here, Amazon Basics. They're super cheap. What we're going to do is we're actually going to put these in the border between the rim and the tire just to make sure we don't get any spray paint on the tire. So next step here is we're going to take a bunch of cloths. You can get an old t-shirt and rip it up. Get a bunch of strips here. What we're going to do is we're going to lay these across the tire just to make sure that we don't get any paint here on the tire, especially if you're doing a different color. I'm doing black, so it wouldn't really be too big of a deal, but especially if you're doing a different color. So. Alright, so all the prep work is done now. We're going to get our primer here. We're going to shake it up for about 2 minutes before we get started. And we're ready to spray. So with the first coat of the primer here, you want to make sure you get a light layer. You're not trying to coat it up too much. You just want to get a little primer here on the wheel. Never spray like this. Always be moving. Alright guys, it's time for the second coat of primer here. We're going to take our rag, we're going to wipe the tip of this just to make sure it's nice and clean. And we're going to get to it again. So this next layer here, we're going to do considerably thicker. We want to get a nice thick layer. We don't want it to be too thin because then it's going to not lay as flat. When the paint is a little thicker, it does lay more flat and it's going to give you a better finish. Alright guys, third and final coat here with our primer. We're going to lay this on even thicker than the second coat. We want to make sure we don't get any runs, so don't do it dripping wet, so it's actually dripping. We just want to make sure that it has a nice thick coat. That way it's really nice and flat and the finish is going to be beautiful. Alright, so time for our first coat here of the trim and bumper paint. We're going to do 3 coats total. It's going to be the same thing. Make sure you shake it up for about 2 minutes. I'm going to put one really light coat here for the first coat. Alright, so after about 10 minutes here with the first coat, we're going to hit our second coat here with the trim and bumper paint, of course. And if you haven't already, check it out. I'm going to put a link in the description below. I actually painted the whole roof of my BMW with this paint. It came out beautiful. I love this paint. I use it on everything. So here we go with the second coat. Alright, so this last coat here, the third and final coat, is going to be the most important coat of the whole process here. We're using the trim and bumper paint again, of course. What we're going to lay it on here now is going to be thick. You want it pretty thick. You're not going to want it thick enough that it's going to run, of course, but you do want it thick, okay? So just make sure you get as thick as you can without any paint runs, and it should come out beautiful when we're done. So let's get started on this last coat. Alright guys, that's it. So it looks really glossy. It looks like it has a nice like black chrome high gloss look. This stuff actually comes out like a semi-gloss. So if you don't want it super glossy, you don't have to worry. It's going to dry, and when it dries, it's going to be kind of a semi-gloss. It's going to look really good. It's not going to be like a flat look, like a plasti dip, but it is going to look a little glossy. It's going to look really good. And obviously, you're going to see the result here in a second. Now, if you want a really glossy look, I would recommend this right here. I'm going to put the link in the description, of course. This stuff lays on really flat. A lot of other clear coats, they kind of look like they have bumps in it. This is going to be really flat. It works awesome. Okay, I tried it here in my car. It works beautiful. So that's it. So we'll see you when it's done. Let's put it back on the car and see what it looks like. All right, guys. So these wheels came out beautiful. A nice glossy black finish. It's actually a semi-gloss. It's not too overpowering. They came out awesome. I couldn't have been happier. Every single time when you use it the way I just showed you, it is going to come out pretty. You can also see this red brake caliper. I actually just did the brake calipers in this car. We came a long way on this car, especially if you remember how ugly these rims were. I do have a link in the description where I'm going to show you guys how to get a nice, beautiful finish here on your brake calipers, just like this wheel. So I'm going to get to work and do the other 3 wheels. And thanks for watching, guys. As you know, my job here and my goal with this channel is to make the highest quality DIY videos out there. No bad camera angles, nothing like that, all right? This is going to be the highest quality DIY channel that you're going to be able to find step by step. I'm never going to miss a step. I'm going to do my absolute best to make everything as high quality as I can. So thanks for logging on. You guys have a good one.